Hey, welcome to One Day Better, the channel that celebrates having way too many hobbies and getting better at them one day at a time. So I thought we'd start things off a little bit different. We're not stood in front of my rusty old Land Rover. Instead, we're in my office sitting in front of my PC. And the reason for this is we're not going to be doing a DIY video today. Instead, we're going to be taking a look at a pocket knife. Now, one of my favourite hobbies is deer stalking. And as a result, I've collected an entire pile of gear to go along with this. Everything from gambrels to winches to pocket knives, and it's something I've come to really enjoy collecting. So the knife we're going to be taking a look at today is the Buck 110. Now there's endless reviews on this knife, and I'm sure if you've clicked on this video, you've probably seen one or two of them. And a lot of these reviews focus on the Buck 110 as a EDC folder, an everyday carry folder for doing cutting tasks, you know, cutting through bags and tape and chopping up cardboard boxes and stuff like that. Or on the other camp, you've got people that say it's a really good camp knife, you know, battening through bits of wood or slicing up hessian rope and stuff like that. But what a lot of these desktop reviews seem to come back to is that the Buck 110 is a traditional folding hunting knife, and that's what it's good for. But I have never seen the Buck 110 being used as a hunting knife as it's intended. So the purpose of this review really is to see if the Buck 110 is a viable hunting knife. So we're going to split it up into three parts. We're going to take a wee look at where you can get the Buck 110 in the UK, a couple of options. Then we're going to take the knife out into the field, see if it's any good for processing an animal. And then I think we're going to come back here and I'm going to give you some thoughts and feelings on the knife. Now, full disclosure here, I don't actually own a Buck 110. I've never owned one. But weirdly enough, my little sister has one and she's been nice enough to lend me it for the review. So I'm going to be using her knife, not my own. So it really is going to be our first impressions and, you know, a good introduction to this classic folding knife. Anyway, all that being said, let's hop onto the PC and I'll show you where you can get it. Hey, you join me on my PC. We're going to take a look at a few of the retail options we have here in the UK. We're a little bit limited on who we can purchase from, but these are the guys that I've previously used and who I'd recommend if you're interested in picking up the Buck 110. So right off the bat, we've got Heine Haynes. Used these guys for years and years and years, purchased loads from them. $79.95 for the Buck 110. That will have next day shipping guaranteed. These guys, I don't know what they use, magic to get it out. Rapid shipping. Next company that I've used loads, Knife and Tool. A little bit expensive option. These guys are based in the Netherlands, $83.95, although they do have quite a short lead time with deliveries. But this knife, for some weird reason, sold out with a month lead time. Must have been super popular over Christmas. You can see 495 reviews, super popular, great company to use. Based out of Finland, we've got Lamnia coming in at €74.05, so 20% cheaper than Heine Haynes. If you're happy to wait for it, it's got a couple of days lead time. I think I waited around 2 weeks to receive a knife here in the UK, although that was during COVID, so that might have changed. Finally, we've got DLT Trading. I've recently just purchased a Spyderco through these guys. They're based in Milwaukee in the States. I had absolutely no idea that they ship to the UK. I think they're one of the only American retailers that does ship to the UK. In this instance, they're $64.99 for the Buck 110. In this instance, maybe not viable buying from them just because I think there's around a $40 shipping charge associated with purchases. But if you're looking for something a bit more exotic that you can't find in the UK, definitely check DLT Trading out. Their tracking was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, 4 options. Looks like Lamnia is coming in cheapest there at €74.05. So yeah, here it is, the Buck 110, courtesy of my little sister of all people. But yeah, it's a lot nicer quality than I thought it was going to be right off the bat. This sheath appears to be genuine leather. It's of quite high construction, so any concerns about retention, having it on your belt or anything, wouldn't really worry about it. It's got this nice brass pop rivet style fastener to hold the, I guess, lid shut. So let's get the knife out. Yeah, it's pretty stiff. Yeah. No, I can tell why people like this knife. The classic looks are really, really pretty. You've got that ebony wood inlay and the brass bolsters, I guess brass liners as well. Stainless steel lockback is very pretty. I understand why people like this knife. It is really quite old-timey and attractive. This one's seen a bit of use, nothing major. You know, my sister isn't out fending off bears or anything like that. I think she just uses it around the house for, I guess, EDC tasks, I guess. So the blade, 420 stainless steel. I haven't got any stats on the length or the weight of the knife. I don't think it makes much difference anyway. I feel like these stats don't really translate in any way to how it feels in the hand. Some of them can be quite misleading as well. But yeah, the knife itself, very pretty. That brushed stainless steel clip point does look like it's going to be pretty useful in all honesty. There's no blade wiggle at all from side to side. Up and down I can feel a little bit of movement in the lock, but you know, even doing something as heavy duty as skinning an animal, I don't think you're ever going to bust out the lock on one of these. I may be proven wrong, but the reason I don't think this makes a particularly good hunting knife is the fact that it's a folder. You're going to have to clean this out some way after you're done processing an animal. And the fact that it's also a riveted construction means if you get any sort of nice bits of, you know, animal inside your knife, it's going to be really hard to clean it off. And the fact that this is not my knife and is in fact my sister's knife means it's going to have to go back spotless. She's not squeamish, but I'm pretty sure she isn't going to want bits of Bambi all cut up in her knife. Now, my main stalking knife and this knife's main competition is this. A Mora Companion. Let me just move that out of the way, put that up there for just now. So this is my main stalking knife. It's, again, stainless steel, basic FRN injection molded handle, I think it's over molded, basic sheath with a hole in it to facilitate easy cleaning. And the reason that I use this knife is, well, I guess there's several reasons. One, it's super cheap. These are £7 or £8, I think. The performance that you get from these knives is absolutely fantastic. I don't know what the steel is. It's some stainless steel, but it's really easy to sharpen. It holds one hell of an edge on it. And yeah, for the money, the value these knives give you, extraordinary, hard to beat. And if I lose it when I'm out stalking, you know, whatever, it's easy to replace. If I drop it or if I'm busy doing something, that orange colour makes it really, really easy to see. And that's why I feel like something like this, desktop reviewers calling it a hunting knife, it's almost like a lot of them have never been out in the field. That might not be true. I'm not calling out anyone. I just think using something like this and calling it a hunting knife is maybe ill-advised. All the hunters that I know, all the stalkers, use something like this. Something that is almost disposable, that you can beat up, that you don't have to worry about if you lose it. It's easy to keep clean. One of the things I hate is when I get home and it's late at night, you know, if you've had a deer run away and you have to go and track it down or whatever. You get home, you've walked all over the hill, you're exhausted. The last thing you want to do is spend ages and ages of time cleaning your gear off, you know, oiling it, making sure it's okay. This, I chuck it in the dishwasher, much to my girlfriend's dismay. In the morning, it's clean, it gets a spritz of oil, and that's it. Most of the time, it doesn't even need sharpened. Great knife. And the Buck's main competition. But on the opposite end of the spectrum from this very affordable option, the thing that I'm going to be assessing the buck against is something a few pounds more expensive, shall we say. That's my Faulkneven F1 Pro in L-Max. Now, I use this as a stalking knife mainly during summer. The reason I use it during summer, not during winter, again goes back to the visibility. I don't like taking this knife out if I know that I'm going to be stalking in low light conditions, towards the end of an evening. The cost of this knife makes it prohibitive. I don't want to take this out and potentially lose it. But the performance this knife offers, absolutely unbelievable. Again, you've got a form of stainless steel in form of L-Max. You've got a thermal run injection moulded handle. Insane performance. I don't think I've ever sharpened this since I've owned it, and I've used it plenty of times. I've done some pretty heavy duty tasks with it as well. But again, as a hunting knife, fab. Come home, put it in the dishwasher, mostly clean. You can see the handle, there's not perfect. It's very hard to get these kind of fatty deposits out. But as a hunting knife, overall, I think this is absolutely fab. And this is the sort of thing that I'm going to be judging the Buck 110 against, maybe a bit unfairly. But overall, it's not too dissimilar. It's the same size. It's got a stainless steel blade, which facilitates easy cleaning and sharpening. It's got stable materials for the handle. And it's only going to be small game we're processing with it anyway. But this is the two knives that I'm going to be benchmarking it. And I want to know whereabouts does this buck lie in this kind of scale. Is it going to be able to outperform the Mora? Is it going to surprise me and blow me out the water and outperform my Faulkneven F1 Pro? Don't know. I guess what we'll do is we'll take it out in the field, we'll see how it performs, and I'll give you my thoughts and feelings. But anyway, I need to get to bed because I am up early tomorrow. We need to go and find a deer.
morning, everyone. I've just arrived at the stalking location. I've just seen a deer as we drove in, so either it's going to be a very good day or it's ruined right off the bat. Conditions today going to be quite challenging. There's a lot of snow on the ground. I actually thought it was all going to thaw off overnight. I think what it means is the deer are going to be very keen to get out and get something to eat, but it's going to make walking around really, really difficult. All of our footprints are going to be super amplified. It's really still here today. There's no wind, nothing. So this could be really good. It could be absolutely rubbish. Anyway, sun's just coming up. I need to get my stuff organised. And then you and I, we're going to go out and have a look and hopefully get something. There's deer prints everywhere. All over. I think today's going to be good. There might be something up right in the corner. It's so icy. It's really hard to move. Go have a look. I'm only yards away from the car. So this must be a first, some serious YouTube magic. I've been here for 25 minutes and I've seen several deer. This one, you saw the shot, it dropped, didn't even run. Easy retrieve on the snow. Looks like a perfect heart and lung shot. So let me get it packed up. Okay, so as this is food, it's really important that we keep clean. So I've got my gloves, I've got my surgeon's sleeves on, and I've got the buck 110. So the first thing that we've got to do is hock the animal. That basically just means cutting up its Achilles tendon, just giving us a bit of space that we can get a gambrel in, so I can hoist it up into the tree. So this is really easy. You can do this with, well, you could do this with a twig if you were desperate, I think. So yeah, let me see. You're just coming in here. Yep, it's fine. And other side. Yep, okay. First task, easy peasy. Let's put it over there. And that means that we can get, I've got this folding gambrel here. That just means we can get that in here. And that'll let us hoist the animal up for a suspended gralloch. Okay, let me get the camera repositioned. I feel like this is going to take me 10 times longer than it normally does, but that's okay. All for the views. Now, I think this is going to be more difficult purely because I'm trying to film it, but I'll try my best. So first things first, we've got to bleed the animal, take the trachea and windpipe out, and then we'll go to the other side, take its bum hole out, clean the knife, open it up, pull the tubes that make it all work out, and then that's it, done. So I might time lapse this, depending on how it goes, we'll just see. So yeah, is the Buck 110 any good as a hunting knife? I guess we're just about to find out.
Hey, Sam here. Well, I'm busy faffing about with this deer. Can I just take a second to say thanks for sticking with me? If you're enjoying the content, could I ask you to maybe give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, it really helps the channel grow and I'd love to have you guys along for the journey. Alright, back to the video.
So, first operation, you can see this is already manky. I think I'll give it a little clean before we jump on to the next bit.
Well, that was a bit of luck. Sometimes you turn up here and you walk around for hours and hours and you see nothing. I've done 2,600 steps, and that's including walking back to the car. We were here for 15 minutes and we got lovely yearling doe, so that's fab. But anyway, apologies for the background. We're back in the Land Rover, we're renovating our house, so I think that's like some contents of the kitchen back there that I need to take to the tip later. But diving back into the knife, I have to say I was quite impressed. I think I had some preconceived notions about how this knife would operate in the context of a hunting knife, especially given the fact that it is a folder and not a fixed blade. But I have to say, quietly impressed. I had so much gear with me today, with the thermal scope, the rifle, the camera gear, all the odds and ends that I take out stalking with me, and see, just having a folding knife that didn't take up much space, I say that was pretty good. Now, my only commentary, I'm not going to say complaint, is that when I came down the belly cavity and I hit the bottom of the sternum, I think that 420 stainless steel, being as in that it is quite soft, I think I might have blunted the belly ever so slightly. It did feel afterwards that it was a bit snaggy. However, all that being said, the fact that it is so soft means that I can go home and sharpen it quite easy. I don't have to faff around with diamond stones or any of that kind of stuff. And, you know, I can clean it off and it'll be, I don't know, good for the next outing. So, would I recommend this as your primary hunting knife? Well, I'll tell you what, let's get back home and we'll compare it again with the Mora Companion and the Falcon Even F1 Pro, and I'll give you my opinion on that. But anyway, thank you for coming out with me. Sometimes it can be quite lonely wandering around here in the hills, so having you with me, keep me company, kind of good fun, I have to say, even though it did make things a little bit more awkward. Okay, I'm going to finish my coffee, drive home, maybe have a nap, and then speak to you later. Cheers! So, it's a few hours later, I'm back home, I've had a nap, I've had a few cups of coffee, and I'm going to give you my final thoughts on the Buck 110. I think I went into this review with some preconceived notions about how this knife was going to perform as a dedicated hunting knife, and I was pleasantly surprised about how it performed. But that's not to say that it was perfect, but there were certainly some positives that really grabbed me by surprise, I must say. I don't think I've ever been stalking with a folding knife. I've always gone and gravitated towards a fixed blade. But having this smaller package today when I was dragging around so much gear really was a bit of a blessing. And I also quite liked the clip point blade. You know, it was very accurate. I was aware that I had to be careful around the rimming in case I was going to burst it and contaminate, you know, the carcass, but it was quite a nice blade shape to use for the task of, you know, opening the animal up. And it also didn't get as gross as I thought it was going to be. I think Buck's tolerances are really, really amazing on this knife. And I think that was mostly the reason why I didn't end up with like loads of bits of animal sort of in the joints and stuff. So I thought that was quite good as well. And I have to say that 420 stainless steel outperformed my expectations. I mean, I did nick it on the sternum and I did maybe blunt it, but I came home and gave it a rub on a sharpening stone and it's come up pretty well. I have to say it's fairly razor sharp now. So overall, I think it did well, but that's not to say it's perfect in my mind at least. Maybe you're a beginner, maybe you clicked on this video because you're trying to decide your first knife to take hunting or something like that, and someone recommended the Buck 110 to you. Maybe they know lots about knives, maybe they watch loads of reviews, maybe they don't know anything about knives but have seen this because it is everywhere. But I'm going to give you my opinion, and it's just that, it's an opinion. If you're out there and you're looking for a dedicated hunting knife, get something like this, the Mora Companion. You know, you can make plenty of mistakes if you're a beginner with this knife. I know when I started stocking, I made tons of mistakes when I was processing animals. And having something cheap that I didn't care about, you know, I didn't mind if I, you know, lost it because I was full of adrenaline and I put it down somewhere, or I made a stupid cut and put a big nick in the blade. Something like this is fab, and it's low maintenance, and you can come home, chuck it in the dishwasher, clean it up, learn how to sharpen on it. I mean, you can make so many mistakes on this. You can have 10 of these for one of these. I think even for a seasoned, let's say, veteran of hunting, which by no means am I, this fulfills a role as well. I have to say it's a fab knife, and in my eyes as a hunting knife outperforms the Buck 110. But I think if I was going to add the Buck 110 to my collection, having handled it and used it now for a few days, I think I would classify it as my lazy Sunday knife, in all honesty. That knife that you pick up when you've got sort of silly tasks to do, you know, like odds and ends around the house, processing cardboard boxes, you know, maybe even things like the odd bit of food prep, something like that. Or I think when I would gravitate to this knife is something like a barbecue or a picnic, a kind of chill day where you don't want some super steel, tactical, super duper knife. I think something like this, you know, I'll just imagine it, cheese board outside, someone has to slice an apple, you know, there you go, non-knife person, it's just a knife. I think that's what this kind of knife would excel at. And it is really pretty as well, I have to say. I mean, you could even just add it to the collection from an aesthetic standpoint. It is really nice, I have to say. But as a dedicated hunting knife, I'm going to say it doesn't pass muster, at least for me. But I did really enjoy taking you guys along, testing it out, seeing how it would fit in that role, and answering the question. So if you enjoyed this, you know, drop us a like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.